So, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, Episode 11, Promise. Yeah, I said last time I was really excited because we were really going to get into the lore of the show and the backstory. This is where we were going to get all of these mysteries answered of who She-Ra is and what she means and all that. Yeah, did not get any of that here. It was still all character, and when I say all character, really all character. The primary two characters of this were Adora and Catra. Yeah, there is no B plot of stuff with Glimmer and Bow, the Horde, any of that. It really was all Adora and Catra in this first one's ruins, as Adora is trying to discover who She-Ra is. Catra sneaks in the first one's ruins, activate their defense systems, and they simulate Adora and Catra into reliving all of these painful memories of their youth during their time in the Horde. And, hoo boy, yeah, they really did a number here. Any who love the friendship between the two, or are even part of this so-called Catra-Dora ship that is all the rage in this show right now. I have no idea what's going on in the future season, so I don't know what really comes of that. But yeah, they really dive deep into what kind of relationship Adora and Catra had growing up. Yeah, so in the beginning of the show, we got that scene of Adora and Catra in the Horde where Adora seemed really competent and Catra did not, with Adora having Shadow Weaver's favor and being the next Force Captain and all of that stuff. And we discover here in these flashback simulations that Adora and Catra had that since they were young, since they were little kids growing up in the Horde. Catra really seemed like a big screw-up Adora. She seemed like this really competent and excellent soldier. And whenever Catra would get into trouble, it would seem that she masked her inadequacy by this seeming positive attitude and being all gung-ho about it. And we discover that years of all of this really affected Catra. And looking back to the show up to this point, from the Sword Part 2 when Adora left up to now, Promise, when we see all of Catra's schemes and plots and machinations and things that she would be doing to undermine the efforts of Adora and the rebellion, yeah, you really did get the impression that Catra seemed so much better and more competent by herself. And in this episode, she fully acknowledges that to Adora. And could that be because of Adora really holding her back? Adora unintentionally putting Catra down by being better than her? I feel that is up to interpretation. No matter how much Adora pleads to Catra that never was the case, or Catra really laid into Adora on how Adora made her feel completely second-rate, like a complete failure for not being as good as she could be. No matter how much Adora and Catra say that to each other, I feel that is up to the interpretation of the viewer. And in that regard, I really give the show high marks for that. I love it when a show does not outright tell you or give you what something is, what the characters are saying, what they are feeling, how they should be, but leaving it up to the viewer on their own personal interpretation. If they really take the side of Adora, or they take the side of Catra, or they take neither side. And on my part, I don't take either side. I mean, primarily because, again, both characters are great. And it's not as if Adora is a full-on good guy or Catra a full-on bad guy. And that one is the protagonist, one is the antagonist, doesn't mean that one is perfect and the other isn't. Both Adora and Catra are flawed. They both have their good points, they have their bad points. It really goes to show how much this show made equal effort in fleshing out the protagonist and antagonist of the show. And one X factor in all of this is, again, Shadow Weaver. It really showed how Adora was doted on by Shadow Weaver, how Shadow Weaver saw Catra as nothing more than Adora's pet, rather than a best friend or a sister, or something even more if this Catra-Adora shipping is really all that it is. And stuff like that, of Shadow Weaver nearly killing Catra, but sparing Adora. Catra being kept on only because Shadow Weaver allowed Adora to keep her. It's just, again, gives so much flavor and possible implication, like I said previously, on what kind of caretaker Shadow Weaver was to both Adora and Catra. How Shadow Weaver was angry at Adora leaving, how Shadow Weaver treated Catra with nothing but contempt, and how Shadow Weaver seemed to no longer be having this favor of Hordak and the Horde, and how Catra is really rising through the ranks, and how she is doing so much better. I know I am rambling on, but again, that just, this episode, it's just so much. For an episode that focused on only two characters, so much happened in this episode. And with the literal cliffhanger of Adora falling to her death, Catra not helping her, and this seeming idea of the first one, simulation at the end, telling Adora to let go. Yeah, double meaning. Adora needing to let go of the cliff she is on and letting go of her friendship of Catra, trying to get Catra to redeem herself, and then Catra seeing that no, if she goes with Adora, she'll be left in her shadow all over again. It's just that double meaning is so inspired, and I loved it. So yeah, I can't really delve into what I really like and what I dislike, because this episode just had so much. Probably, we got 3 episodes left, 2 more after this one, but I'm feeling that episode 11, Promise, I haven't made a list yet, but I feel that Promise might be one of my favorite episodes of She-Ra Season 1. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now. So I'll be seeing you guys next time for She-Ra and the Princess of Power, episode 12. So that's Promise, and I'll see you guys around.